Fox 4 weather with Kansas City's most experienced and accurate forecaster, Chief Meteorologist Mike Thompson.
I'll take a good look at that brown grass out your door because you may not see it again for a while. Look at the aerial extent of this storm that we have. The winter storm warning covers huge area, 4 states basically, including parts of Illinois, all the way out into Colorado. So traveling, as you can see, in all directions is going to be a little bit tricky beginning tomorrow. By the time it's all done, we're looking at anywhere from 4 to 8 on the south side to 6 to 10 up north, and a pretty solid 8 to 12 across northwest Missouri, north central and northeastern parts of Kansas. And here in the metro, again, that dividing line that bisects the metro could fluctuate a little bit depending on the exact track, but it kind of gives you an idea that most of us are going to get a pretty good dose of snow, and the heavier amount should be on the northwest side. It's just a matter of how fast it happens tomorrow that may actually catch you off guard. So we'll break that down in a second. Temperatures today went nowhere. 24 has been the best. Actually, I think KCI is up to 25 now. 45 is average. And we'll get up to about 26 tomorrow with temperature fluctuations during the intense snowfall. It'll probably be around 22 when you wake up. And the snowfall at first is going to be fairly light. Then it intensifies between 8 and 10 to the point that it's really coming down. And the accumulation could happen very, very quickly. So if you're traveling somewhere and you're inside, say around 9 o'clock, you come out at 11, all of a sudden you got 2, 3, 4 inches of snow on the ground, and it'll snow heavily until mid-afternoon. Then it'll begin to taper off, and that's where the temperatures will recover. So watch that 6 to 9 a.m. period, because that's where the snowfall rates are really going to kick in, and it could go as late as about 3. So that's why we're looking at about 5 to 10 inches. And a rapid deterioration again during the late morning. So again, if you leave the house early, you'll be able to get wherever you're going just fine. But the later into the morning you go, the more you're going to encounter much more intense snowfall. There's the upper level storm, tiny little thing, but it's going to track by just to our northwest. Perfect track for this kind of a situation. Dumps a lot of moisture into cold air, and that's why we're going to see the intense snowfall rates. The waves of snow that we've seen so far are just beginning to saturate things up. We're at 24 now, near freezing down south, where they've had about 5 inches on the ground in the Wichita area already. And you see the snow's already moving in tomorrow morning, noontime, snowing heavily. We'll watch that little bit of sleet down south because it may reduce the depth of the snow, but you're still going to have solid ice areas just 45, 50 miles southeast of Kansas City, and then the snowfall drops off in intensity, but we'll still have some light snows into early Friday morning. Again, quick look, heavy northwest, lighter southeast, and down toward the lakes, maybe 2 to 4 inches of predominantly sleet. 24 right now with easterly winds at 10. We'll only drop a few degrees tonight, down to 20. The wind chills will be in the single digits or teens, so it's going to be a raw evening. First thing in the morning, the flakes will begin very lightly. It may not do much at all between 6 and 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. Then all of a sudden, the rates pick up dramatically, 1 to 2 inches per hour, maybe some thunder snow, and that goes into the afternoon. So the road crews are going to have a tough time keeping up during the height of this storm, and then tomorrow night they'll start catching up as the rates drop off with our 5 to 10 inch snowfall. Friday, lingering flurries and cold. And, of course, you get this big of snow, it has impacts. It may take a week and a half, 2 weeks to really get rid of the impacts of this. We have another snow potentially on Monday.
You're just full of good news, man.
Here we were hoping winter was on the way out the door.
Yeah. All right, Mike.
Okay.
Those who were forced out of their homes because of the explosion and fire on the Plaza last night say they can't help but relive those moments of horror. Fox 4's John Pepitone is live on the Plaza with more on the neighbors and how they're coping with the frightening situation. John?
Yeah, that's right, Phil. You know, some today learned that they can return to their homes safely, while others found shattered windows and discovered that their apartments are still without heat. Now, neighbors feared the worst after the blast rattled their buildings nearly 3 blocks away. Looking at the inferno that some recorded on their smartphones and knowing people were inside has left some shaken. After spending the night with family in Olathe, Lindsay Ward returned with her mother to her apartment in the Washington Irving building. That's right next to JJ's. She's not sure she'll be able to stay here again, but she wants to get as much of her belongings out of the apartment as she can.
We hope we can, at least get in and get our things. Like I said, we ran out without my purse, without car keys. We park in a parking garage over here, so we couldn't get our car. So we hope to at least get our things. We were hoping maybe to stay here, but at least to be able to get some of our stuff.
Now, those who could come back to their homes sometimes found shattered windows here at the David Copperfield Apartments. Maintenance man Frank Taylor, he's cleaning up, and he says he has to replace at least a half a dozen broken windows. Now, this tight-knit community of apartments here, people are relying on each other to return their lives to normal. As horrible as this fire and explosion has been, Phil, many of the people tell me they can't help but marvel at how many lives were able to survive it. I'm John Pepitone, Fox 4 News, working for you live on the Country Club Plaza.
Here, John, thank you. The Missouri Tigers take down the top team in SEC basketball while the head coach finally speaks out on charges from the NCAA. This is Fox 4 News at 6.
The Missouri Tiger basketball team made a big statement last night when it knocked off the Florida Gators, a night where Tiger head coach Frank Haith finally got that much-anticipated communication from the NCAA. First the game now, where Mizzou overcame a 13-point second-half deficit and 19 turnovers. Finished the contest on a 10-3 run and won it 63-60. After the game, Haith confirmed he'd received the notice of allegations from the NCAA, where Haith is accused of failure to promote an atmosphere of compliance. Specifically, the NCAA says Haith paid Miami booster Nevin Shapiro after Shapiro blackmailed him. Seems to be a serious charge, but still Haith seems relieved.
I did get a notice of allegation. I did spend some time with Mike right this evening after the game. Contrary to what was reported, there was no unethical conduct in my notice of allegation, and it is just an allegation, so we get a chance to defend ourselves. But all in terms of my attorneys here, and he's going to forward that to Mike and the staff here tomorrow. But the biggest thing I want to tell you, I'm glad this thing is almost over with.
Frank just filled me in right before right before the press conference and everything. But certainly with us, we're looking forward to them forwarding it on. Wally or those guys will forward it on to us, and we'll have a chance to work together with Frank. And I'm just glad again that we'll have some resolution of this. 20 months. Really, 20 months. How interesting this process has been, if I may say it that way. And I'll just be glad, and I know Frank and all of us will, that we can go ahead and deal with it and move forward. So.
He used the word interesting. I find Mike's weather coming up interesting. I can use another word, too.
Yeah. We always, we're in fear when Mike uses the word interesting. So
sometimes there's just no other way to describe it.
Wheel of Fortune now.